Hi, this is Megan Gacious, and for this discussion board, I'll be focusing on the American Civil War and specifically about prisoners within the American Civil War. The first article I came across was Runaway Slaves, Militant Abolitionists, and the Critique of American Prisons from 1830 to 1860 by Jesse Olszewski. And of course, in this document, he talked about how abolitionists were compared slavery to prisons and the harsh conditions and just everything that they went through during that time, not being fed very well, the beating, being put into cages and different things like that, and how the abolitionists created the Underground Railroads. Doing more research, I came across Richard Kenneth Atkins' article called Pierce, Sentimentalism and Prison Reform, and how he said that there was a need for prison systems and more generally against harsh forms of punishments. Although imprisonment of actual criminals was pretty rare during colonial times, but it did happen. It was mainly for low petty crimes, for humiliation, and silence in some prisons was strictly enforced, and prisoners were subject to harsh punishment when rules were broken. In this document, it talked about overcrowded. They were really overcrowded after the American Civil War, with just little petty crimes. And the third article I came across, which was called Captive Audiences, Sound, Silence, and Listening in American Civil War Prisons by Evan Kutzler. In this article, it was pretty interesting in the fact that it focused on prisoners in the Civil War remaining silent and listening to their surroundings. As I said before in the other article, silence was strictly enforced, and by being silent, in Evan Kutzler's article, hope arised from the silence. They hoped that they could either get out or that their side was winning. They quickly learned that they could learn from the silence. They could hear the battle going off in the background, and they could hear the cannons, and they could just hear what was going on in the outside and see who was winning. This topic was really interesting because during the Civil War, you think of the slaves and how they were imprisoned, but you don't really think of actual prisons. And it really brought some new knowledge to myself, and possibly a thesis in the future. Thanks for listening.